Welcome to this yoga stretch for when you've been standing all day. In this session, we'll be moving slowly and focusing on releasing tension from your low back. We'll aim to move in the spine in all of its range of motion, which is especially useful if you've been performing a repetitive task all day or even if you've just been standing still all day long. And finally, we'll make sure that we try to stretch and revive your tired legs. So I know you've already been standing all day and you may not wish to stand anymore, but if you can, please come to standing at the back of your mat, where we'll take a couple of simple stretches to start you off. If you can't bear to stand a moment more, you could take a child's pose. Before we begin also, please make sure if you have one that you could grab a yoga blanket or even a towel would do right now. And also if you can be near a wall for your practice, we will be elevating the feet later. If you've got no free wall space or anything close to you, you could also use your sofa or a bed, anything where you can rest your feet up. And we're going to begin at the back of your mat. So take a stance tall up through the crown of your head. We're going to clasp your hands, interlace all of your fingers. Squeeze your shoulder blades, lift your chest and breathe in. And as you exhale, relax your shoulders. Drop your chin. Just twice more with that, please, Yogi. Inhale, lift your chest, lift your chin. And exhale, soften. Inhale, lift the chin and chest, squeeze your shoulder blades, squeeze your palms. And this time as you exhale, release your hands. Start to fold forwards, bend your knees generously. And coming into dangle pose. So in your dangle pose, if you can, allow your belly and thighs to rest together. And then relax your neck. And relax your shoulders. And breathe all the way down to your low back. Now it can be nice to keep your hands on the floor if you feel a little bit more stable and grounded. Or if you prefer, you can take your hands to rest in the opposite elbow. And we're just going to dangle and hang here for a few moments. It can be nice also to stretch side to side a little, or sway side to side a little, should I say. Keep coming back to relaxing your neck. Letting the weight of your head do the work. Breathing if you can in and out through your nose. Filling up all the way to the low back. Relaxing your torso, relaxing your shoulders. One more full breath here, please. And relax fully at the end of the exhale. And we're going to bring the hands back to the floor if you had them in the elbow. And this is where your blanket may be useful. You can pop it behind your heels. And then lift your heels up onto it as you come down towards goddess. And for a start, just shift side to side. So one knee comes towards the floor and the heel is up, and the other heel comes down towards the ground, and then switch. So just a little bit of movement for your hips. And we'll settle into goddess. So the feet are a little bit wide. If they're too close, it can be difficult to get into this pose. Elbows inside the knees, the feet are turned out to the same degree that your knees are facing outwards. And your hands rest together in prayer pose, lightly pressing into the inner knees. Now if this is a little too much, you can't get your heels down, like I said, you can elevate your heels on blankets or a towel, or you can roll up a yoga mat. Alternatively, if you have a block or a book that you can sit on instead, that can be really nice also. And with the hands lightly pressing together, tilt your head over to the left. Rotate your chin down towards your chest slowly. And continue over to the right. And then back again, down towards the center. And over to the left. And lift your head up, taking a breath in. And we're going to soften, bring the hands to the floor. Round your back, let your chin drop towards your chest. And think of this, rather than really pushing to round, think of it like the soft curve of an egg, and breathe into your back. And just spread the shoulders wide with your breath into the middle back, all the way down to the low back. We're going to come up, slowly lift your head, shift forwards onto your toes and allow your knees to come down to your mat. And just bring them in underneath your hips and tuck all your toes underneath you, even the little toes. So you might have to reach and get your little toes tucked under there. Or and sit on the heels to stretch out your feet. So try and stretch all the way through little toe to big toe. If this is too much to sit on your heels like this, you can take toe stretch with your hips over your knees. And if it's simply too much to stretch your toes, that's okay. You could skip this and sit back for a moment with a neutral spine. Clasp your hands at your low back once again. Open into the chest. Two more breaths with a focus on stretching your feet. And release your hands and your feet by leaning forwards and just letting the tops of the feet press onto the mat for a moment. You might want to lift your feet and just give them a little bit of movement, some wiggles. Awesome. We're going to shift forwards now into Sphinx pose. So that's lying all the way down to your front. Let your elbows come in underneath your shoulders. And the tops of your feet rest lightly onto the mat. And if this is too much for your low back, you can always move your elbows further forwards. And that'll lessen it and move it actually a little higher up into the middle back. And take a few breaths here in this supported back bend. Close your eyes, relax your jaw. And you're going to slowly lower down out of your Sphinx pose, all the way to your front, and slide your left knee off the left side of your mat. Rest your head down onto your hands, looking out to the left. You can close your eyes. Just relax your hips. Easy breaths in and out through your nose if you can. We'll come into a twist from here, so your left knee stays out to the left. Turn your head to the mat and lift up enough. Using pressure through your left hand to sweep your right hand as far across to the to the left as you can. And you'll take your left hand up to the sky, you'll roll onto your right hip, left hand up to the ceiling and all the way over. So you end up in a reclining twist. The arms out wide in a T shape. Your left knee isn't glued to the ground, so feel free to lift it up. And then for me personally, if I lightly press into the back of my head and lift my right shoulder and slightly bring it out of the way, find a more comfortable position across the shoulders and into the spine. Make yourself comfortable here. Move whatever you need to move to get into a position that you can relax in. You could even place a block underneath your left knee if that would allow you to be more comfortable. And you can look all the way out to the left if that feels okay on your neck. Carefully come out. Left hand up, over towards the right hand. Unwind the left leg before you go to your front and spin your way back to your front. And you're going to send the right knee out to the right. Rest your head on your hands, looking out to the right. Relax your hip, relax the glutes. And steady the breath. Make sure your shoulders soften also. Come into your twist. So you'll turn your head towards the mat. Use pressure in your right hand to reach your left hand as far across as you can. You can move your hips a little bit. Come onto the outside of your left leg. Right hand up to the ceiling. Then all the way open. Those little shuffles again. Those movements. Lifting the left shoulder, popping it back on the mat. Letting your right knee lift up if you wish. Looking out to the right. Start to relax into it. release tension from your shoulders. See where you're resisting the pose. And do your best to relax in those places. Let's come on out, lift the right hand up, over towards the left hand. Stretch your right foot back to meet the left and make your way back to your front. Let's make our way to child's pose. So you can push into your hands, lift your hips up, walk your knees in. And then remember with your child's pose as you settle in that if you have your knees together, it's a little bit more of a release for your low back. With the knees apart and toes touching, it's a little bit more of a release for your hips. So wherever you feel the most tension, move into the variation that's most appropriate for how you feel today. You can always rest your head on your hands. You don't have to have them extended. Or if you've been feeling tension in your shoulders from the day, you could put your hands by your feet and let the shoulders melt over your knees. Please make your way up and come to a comfortable seat. Once again, you might use your blanket and sit up onto it and sit facing you so that you can see more clearly. And you'll stretch your legs straight out in front of you. So the elevation of a blanket just giving you a little bit more room to move with. You're going to take your right foot and bring it up over to the outside of the left leg. If your hips are on the tighter side, you can come into a figure 4 shape as your stretch. However, if it's possible, slide that foot over further to the left. So the foot is somewhere near your left hip and the knees snuggle a little bit closer together. In this variation, the figure 4, where the ankle's over the knee, is more of a hip stretch. But if you come into the knees stacked, you can really isolate the calves and the lower legs. So you'll sit up tall, puff your chest up, and flex your foot lots. So your left foot flexing, the front one. Then start to lift the chest forwards towards the front of your mat and slightly up until you feel that left calf stretching. You could also experience this in the hips or in the hamstrings. Nowhere is incorrect. And just notice what you feel and take a few deep breaths there. You can use your exhales to deepen, just to move a little bit further into it if it feels okay. And if you're leaning forward, start to sit more upright. Keep the leg positioning as you are if you can. If you're in a figure four, you can stay like that or stretch the leg out at this point. Left hand's going to go up and over the top towards the right. Your right hand finds the mat next to you and bend your elbow in towards your ribs so you're not bracing against yourself. And you can either keep your hand on the mat with the elbow softly bent. You might also put your elbow on a block or pop your elbow on the floor. And reach over to the left to stretch all the way through the left side of your body, a lateral spine stretch. You can look down towards your right forearm. And come on up, nice and easy. And stretch your right leg out. And same on the other side, please. You're going to cross your left ankle over the top of your right leg. If possible, walk this foot out to the right side of your right hip and let your knees stack relatively close together. It's okay if there's a bit of a lift. If that's simply not possible in your hips or your knees, you could take a figure four as an alternative. It's a slightly different stretch, but still a good one. Lift your chest up, slightly arch your back, flex your right foot lots, and start to lean forward, as if you wanted to touch your sternum to your toes. Maybe close your eyes. Just observe whatever sensations come up on this side of your body. Use your exhales to explore depth. You can sit your way up. You're welcome to keep your knees as they are or to re-stretch them back out. You can do this with your legs straight also. Right hand goes up, left hand to the floor next to you. Start to reach over the top to the side and either keep the elbow bending in towards your ribs and hold there. Place your elbow and forearm on a block or come down to your forearm. And once again, just turn your chin down towards your left forearm. Just a few more breaths. Bend your right elbow, lift the right arm. Start to sit upright. And stretch your left leg out away from you. Take a deep breath. And relax your shoulders. We're going to come to the wall now. Like I mentioned at the beginning, if you're not close to a wall, you could do this using a bed or a sofa or anything where you can get your feet up. And so you're going to make your way up to the wall and sit with your side to it. Doesn't much matter which way you're facing. So get nice and close up to the wall. You're going to turn onto your side or lie on your side and get your bum up close, as if you're really trying to sit on the wall. And bring your shoulder all the way down, tucking into almost like a little fetal position. And from here, you'll spin and extend the feet up. Just shuffle around a bit, make sure you get into a comfortable place. If it doesn't happen the first time, just have another go. If you can get your feet up there. It doesn't matter if your bum isn't touching the wall, it can do, but it's okay if it doesn't. And if your hamstrings are on the tighter side, it may actually help you if you're a few inches away from the wall, so you're not stressing your hamstrings. We're going to drop your right ankle down to rest on your left knee. And you can hold here and relax. Or if it feels a more welcome stretch, you can bring your left foot down the wall and rest it on that, just until you feel a stretch into the outer right hip. Relax your shoulders and your face. You can close your eyes. Relax your low back. Keep softening. And stretch your left foot back up the wall if your knee was bent. And lift your right foot to the ceiling. You can either rest your heel back on the wall, or you can take a hold of the thigh or the calf. And relax your shoulders. Just get a little bit of a hamstring stretch here. And you can soften your knee, especially if you feel it pulling the knee itself. Remember to soften it, just so that you're feeling more of a stretch in the back of your right thigh, rather than in the connection points of your hamstring. You want to feel this in the belly of the muscle. And release, place your foot back onto the wall. Take a deep breath. Relax your arms, exhale. And slide your left foot down, rest it onto the right thigh, the knee just gently moving away from you. And once again, you can remain here if this feels just right, or let your right foot slide down the wall until you feel a welcome stretch in your left hip. And take a few breaths here. Keep lowering the hips towards the floor, relaxing the low back. You're not pressing the right foot into the wall, trying to make anything happen. You're just relaxing and breathing as if you could breathe all the way down into that left hip. And you'll stretch your right foot back up if you had bent your knee. Rest your heel back on the wall. And stretch your left foot up, taking the rotation out of the hip, and either rest your heel back on the wall if you're ready to rest, or hold on to your thigh or your calf. Gently soften your shoulders back towards the mat. Remember to soften the knee just a touch if you feel any tension up in the glute or behind the knee. And release. Place both feet or your left foot back on the wall next to your right foot. Make sure they're in a position that's comfortable. And if you are uncomfortable here, you can at this point come back to Savasana so that you are comfortable. So that will be either lying flat or putting some bolsters or blankets underneath your knees. If where you are is a little bit chilly, cover up with something warm. Let your hands rest by your thighs. Your eyes can close. We'll spend just a few minutes here with our feet up the wall, just to restore those tired legs. You don't need to do anything at all to make anything happen. You can simply soften. And let your legs relax all the way from your toes, through your ankles, through your calves, to the knees, to the thighs and the glutes. And then you can soften your abdomen and your shoulders. Make sure you feel supported by the ground beneath you. Relax your arms, make sure your hands are soft. And relax your jaw and your face. And if your mind wanders as you relax here, you can focus on gently lengthening your exhales. spend a few more minutes here. You can spend as long as you wish. If you're ready to come out of this pose, walk your feet down the wall and hug them in towards your chest. Hold on to your shins or your knees and draw them in. Gently rock side to side, across your low back. And then roll onto your side and rest there for a moment. You can use your arm as a pillow. And when you're ready to come up to a seat, we'll complete our practice. And make your way up to any comfortable seated position. And rest your hands together in front of you. Please breathe all the way into your belly and all the way out. Thank you for your practice. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this practice, please subscribe for more yoga videos and meditations.